Hello, I'm Sharon Taylor, founder and CEO of the Business Vision and Development Center. And good morning to everybody on Bagels and Business for Breakfast. Hi, Yvonne Lorraine.
Hello, Sharon, and hello to all our listeners.
Today we're going to talk about business concepts. And what I want to, and we have in the past, the way business and bagels is kind of structured is to take you on a journey, all things business, just little nuggets to help you along the way, like breadcrumbs, so to speak, right?
Right.
Follow the trail. And we've talked about business plans, the components of business plans, but I'd like to circle back um, to refresh. And one of the main components, first components of a business plan is your business concept because you need that in order to do the plan, right? And so the first part of the business concept I want to talk about is identifying you as business owners, identifying a problem that needs solving. It could be something in your life. It could be something you did at the grocery store and said, there's got to be a better way of doing this. And so these are how ideas become businesses, come to fruition, is by looking at problems and coming up with a new and novel solution. So, Yvonne, let's talk about some problems that people might have noticed that created businesses. Can you think of anything that has come to mind of a business that saw a problem and then created a solution? I got one in mind. I got one in mind.
Okay. Yes.
You want me to go first?
Go first. Yes.
I'm thinking about Amazon, and I don't know why that stuck in my mind because he started in his garage. People were bringing him all these books, and he had no place. It outgrew, scaled up, and he had to find a place for all these books. Amazon. So it was a problem. He created a solution. And from that one solution, look where he's grown. That's another thing about solutions. When you create a solution, you always want to think about the next step and the next step and the next step because your one solution, somebody else is right behind you with a better. So you always have to keep one step ahead. So, well, what you can do is talk about your own businesses, one that you saw a problem and created a solution.
Yeah, sure. I was just going to mention, you know, a lot of time that's more for the for-profit that you just shared with them, but a lot of times that's what the nonprofits are doing. They're actually trying to meet the need of a problem that they see and are compassionate about it to do something about it. Like we have with Life Changing Community Development Corporation, we realized that there were not quality programming in the disadvantaged neighborhoods for our little black children who could still receive great quality programs in spite of their economic situations. So that's why we started Life Changing Community Development Corp to provide those quality programs for the children, the youth, and their families to still have access to the resources needed.
And speaking of that, and I'm a just give you a shout out about what you do, and to let other business known owners get a little more vision and a little more global, international mindset. What I know of you is that whatever community that you go to, they all, some of them have the same problem. So you are able to address the problem and come up with a solution that's specific to that particular neighborhood, which makes you a national kind of phenomenon. It's not new and novel, but it's a task that not many want to take. on because it's a uphill struggle in our impoverished neighborhoods to get buy-in. People often say that they want it, and then when it comes down to doing the work, you stand alone sometimes. So when we talk about our business concept, I want people to think about not just the problem and the solution, but all the parts that go into making a successful business or program. All the things that you're going to need, because sometimes you will stand alone. And another thing about your business concept is to make it a strong one, so that if you have investors or you have people that are interested, if your concept is clear and if they say see your vision in the same way that you do, then you'll get buy-in from the community and other entrepreneurs that may want to join hands with you to create your vision. So that's enough one
There,
problem solved.
can I just, I would like to add just one more thing to that too, because one of the things that has allowed us to survive has been the amazing partnerships. So even in situations where, we have not always had the money as a nonprofit, but we have always had amazing partnerships. So that's very important.
Yes, relationships, relationships, relationships. Another thing I want to talk about when it comes to business concepts is are your products and services. And we've talked about this a lot too when it comes to talking about your niche. You have to be able to define your product and service to someone who has no clue what you're talking about. If it's up here and they don't understand it, then why are they going to buy into it? And you also have to address it back to the problem and solution of the people that are going to use your product and services. If it's over there and they over here, who's going to cross the street for? So let's talk a little bit about that, the products and services part of your business concept. When you sit down and think about how you're going to put pen to paper when it comes to your products and services, you have any suggestions for our viewers?
I was thinking, Sharon, I actually was thinking back to one of your previous um, sessions when you were talking about being grant ready and how you were talking about the fact of having everything that was needed for that. Well, it's kind of the same thing because if you're trying to get funding, any type of funding, you have to be able to identify and be very specific of what your product or your service is with your business. So, in doing that, that allows one for you to be able to share with others what it is and be able to document and show others, like Sharon mentioned, people who don't know you, they have to be able to understand what it is that you're doing without you being there. And a lot of times, Sharon, what I try to do is share my information with someone who doesn't know anything about what we're doing and let them tell me if that made sense.
You hit that right on the nail because I remember, in the beginning stages of my business, I know about business plans, I know about all this, but it wasn't until I passed it on to some people outside of the business world, and they're like, explain to me what this is again, because I don't really get it. And we toss around a lot of terms: business plans, executive summaries, niches. People that are not in the same club may not recognize it. They may be operating in that club, but the terminology and the functionality may not be there for them. So that's a good thing. So people, when you write up your business concept, pass it to somebody totally opposite of what you're doing and see if they can understand and be down for constructive criticism.
Yes, be open for that.
The next thing I want to talk about is your distribution channel. Now, for me, because I am a consultant, my distribution channel, just so people can get an example, is internet, face to face, workshops, hand to hand, that kind of thing. Whereas somebody on it that's selling goods, like on Instagram, their distribution channel may be different. So, Yvonne, talk about one of your distribution channels for any of your several businesses.
Well, one that I think people think is no longer relevant is doing emails. So I have kind of switched my gears on my distribution a little bit to go back to including emailing, using email addresses, because for some of the platforms, you do need email addresses to help you to distribute. And Kajabi is one of those type of platforms, and something that I use, Sharon, to help to get the information out about my business and to get people who will be able to register or sign up for whatever's taking place.
That's good too, because I use email too as a distribution channel. Every time we do a YouTube, every time I do a newsletter, every time there's a grant, I distribute it by email,
Yeah.
social media. But I want people to, when they think about their distribution channels, especially now in the age of online,
Mhm.
people tend to forget, business owners tend to forget if they're mailing a product, the time it takes to package that, the time it takes to go to the post office. What are you going to do, if you're packing stuff up in your house and it's expanded? It's so much that goes into it, especially when it's a product that you're distributing. A
Mhm.
service is a little different, but we had to pivot when COVID hit
Mhm.
and pretty much went to virtual, which was great for services like ours because then we could capture bigger masses of people.
Mhm.
So I just want people to think about different things when they're coming up with their business concept. Write
Mhm.
some things down, get your ideas down on paper, see how they flow. And again, it was problem solving. What problem are you going to solve? Your product and service, and your distribution channel. And if you have any questions or need some help, you know, Yvonne, Lorraine, and I are always here.
Yes.
Info at thebvdcenter.org, and reach out to us and we'll help you wherever we can. Anything else, Yvonne, before we go?
Just want to say, always plan for growth.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
Except for when you're talking about weight gain.
Except for that.
That's my funny for today. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.